What if everything you believe about love is quietly, compassionately wrong? I mean, think about it. Your heart clenches like a fist. Your person is in the thick of it, the kind of storm that bends trees and turns the sky a bruised purple. And every instinct you have, every spiritual meme you've ever saved, every beat of your own tender heart screams at you to do something. Build a shelter, shout directions, throw them a rope, a lifeline, anything to pull them from those churning waters. It feels like devotion. It wears the face of mercy. But what if, in your frantic scramble to be their anchor, you're accidentally refusing them the very currents that will carry them to a shore you cannot yet imagine? What if love, real love, the kind that alters destinies, isn't about being the safe harbor, but about becoming the unwavering trust in their own sail? We've been sold a beautiful, broken myth that to love is to alleviate, to spare, to smooth the path. It's a myth written in the language of fear, our own fear of their pain, and ultimately our own hidden fear of being unnecessary. So we appoint ourselves as custodians of comfort. We become living, breathing safety nets, stretched taut beneath their every potential fall. And we call this service. We call this sacred. But let me offer you a different vision, one that might initially feel like a betrayal of that warm, familiar instinct. Imagine for a moment a master sculptor. She doesn't look at a raw, unshaped block of marble and see chaos. She doesn't panic at its hardness, its resistance. She sees the form trapped within, waiting. And her love for that potential form is so profound that she picks up a chisel. She applies pressure. She allows friction, chips, dust. The process is, from one perspective, violent. It is certainly a kind of suffering for the stone. Yet, is the sculptor cruel? Or is she in fact in a sacred collaboration with the truth hidden inside? Her every strike is an act of faith, not destruction. You are not a safety net. You are a witness to the sculpture. Your loved one's struggle is not a flaw in the universe's design. It is the chisel, the heartbreak, the confusion, the silent, aching, dark night of the soul. These are not enemies to be defeated by your cleverness or your comfort. They are the precise, necessary pressures that reveal the contour of a stronger jawline, the line of a more resilient backbone, the graceful curve of a spirit learning to hold its own weight. When you rush to dull the chisel, to soften the blow, you aren't saving the sculpture. You're keeping it forever trapped in the tomb of its what if. This is the radical, terrifying, and ultimately liberating pivot, loving someone's highest self more than you love their temporary comfort. It means looking at their pain and whispering to yourself, this is not mine to fix. This is theirs to transform. It means swapping the toolbox of solutions for the mantle of steadfast presence. It's the difference between shining a blinding floodlight into their dark forest and simply sitting quietly at the edge, holding a lantern so they know a friendly world exists when they choose to emerge. One controls, the other believes. And here's the quiet miracle that happens in that space of held belief. It becomes contagious. Your refusal to see them as fragile trains their own eyes to see their inherent strength. Your tolerance for their chaos teaches them to tolerate their own. You become the calm mirror that reflects back not a damsel in distress, but a phoenix mid-combustion. And that, darling soul, is the most potent magic of all. It's how we help people not by carrying them, but by remembering how to fly beside them in a sky that suddenly seems wide enough for both of your wings. But how do you start? Where do you find the strength to drop the rope when every cell is screaming to throw it? Well, that's where the real adventure begins. And it has everything to do with the story you're telling about your own 2 feet, standing firmly on what might feel like very unsteady ground. Let's get uncomfortably honest for a moment. You've been there. Your person, your twin flame, your soulmate, that beautiful, messy human you'd move planets for, is in the thick of it. The kind of pain that radiates through the phone line, that hangs in the air of their apartment like a fog. And every cell in your body, every spiritual principle you've ever glued to your vision board, screams, do something, fix it, soothe it, beam them light, send them the perfect meme, offer the profound insight that will crack the code of their suffering. It's a physical ache, this impulse to rescue. It feels like love. It presents as the pinnacle of compassionate service. But what if I told you that in that very moment, you're standing at a critical fork in the spiritual road, and the path that feels like love is often the detour, the path that feels like cruel inaction? That's the sacred highway. We need to talk about the dirty little secret of spiritual empathy. It's often hijacked by our own unease, because watching someone you love suffer is agonizing. It triggers our own unhealed wounds, our own fears of abandonment, our own God complexes disguised as altruism. We swoop in not because their soul requires it, but because our nervous system cannot tolerate the helplessness. This, my friend, is the essence of what we're calling idiot compassion. And the term isn't an insult, it's a diagnosis. It's compassion that's asleep at the wheel, running on the automatic pilot of people-pleasing and spiritual bypassing. It's the energy that says, I will absorb your chaos so I don't have to feel my own discomfort sitting beside it. It's giving money to the addict you love, not because it helps, but because the guilt of saying no is heavier than the cash in your wallet. It's breaking a necessary period of silence or no contact because their sadness feels like a vacuum you're compelled to fill. But skillful compassion, that's a different creature entirely. That's compassion that's done its homework. It's the love that can look directly into the storm in another person's eyes and not flinch, not because it's cold, but because it's so profoundly warm it can afford to be still. It understands a mysterious spiritual law. Not all pain is pathology. Some pain is germination. Some chaos is sacred architecture collapsing so a truer form can be built. And interrupting that process, no matter how well-intentioned, is like yanking a seedling from the soil every day to check if the roots are growing. You're not helping. You're ensuring it never anchors, never blooms. Think of it as the difference between being an emotional firefighter and a seasoned guide in a wilderness of transformation. The firefighter's job is to extinguish the blaze immediately. And for a literal fire, bravo. But what if the blaze is a forge? What if your loved one is in the alchemical fire of ego dissolution, of burning away a lifetime of stories that never fit them? Your idiot compassion rushes in with a hose, drowning the flames and leaving them shivering, sooty, and surrounded by the damp, unfinished mess of what was supposed to be their transformation. The skillful guide, however, does something that seems insane from the outside. They stand at the edge of the heat. They make sure the forest around them doesn't catch. That's the boundary, the container. They don't throw water on the sacred fire. They pass them a tool, a word, a silence. They whisper, "I see the shape you're becoming in there. It's worth the heat." They trust the process enough to let it burn. This is where it gets really personal and maybe a little funny. How many of us have played spiritual savior? Come on, you can smile. I've worn the cape. You see their life pattern, their karmic lesson as clear as day. It's so obvious. So you lovingly, oh so compassionately, serve them the diagnosis on a silver platter. Darling, I see you're struggling with abandonment wounds from your father, and you're projecting that onto your partner. Truth bomb, mic drop, except it's not your truth to drop. That insight, delivered before their soul has crawled through the dark to find the switch itself, is utterly worthless. It's spiritual plagiarism. You've stolen their aha moment. You've robbed them of the struggle that would have made that insight a part of their very bones, not just a pretty plaque on the wall of their mind. Skillful compassion bites its tongue until it bleeds. It asks instead of tells. It wonders, what do you feel is the root of this pattern? It holds the space for the messy, incorrect, stumbling answer that is theirs, which is infinitely more valuable than your pristine, downloaded truth. This isn't passive, it's fiercely active. It's the most demanding spiritual practice I know. It requires you to do your own work so thoroughly that you can discern, is this my anxiety or their soul's call? Is this their need or my need to be needed? It's sitting on your hands when every fiber wants to intervene. It's loving someone so much, you're willing to let them think you're the villain for a while, to let them rage at your coldness, because you can see the shore they cannot, and you know your lifeline would only keep them circling in the open water. So the next time you feel that gut-wrenching pull to fix, to save, to mend, pause. Take a sacred breath in that space between impulse and action. Ask the harder question, am I trying to illuminate their path or just make myself feel less powerless in the face of their darkness? The answer will tell you everything. And if you choose the harder, quieter path of skillful compassion, know this, you're not building a wall. You're building an altar of such profound respect for their journey that you're willing to be misunderstood upon it. And this leads us to the quietest, most mysterious room in the heart of real love. A place where even silence is too loud, and the only true gift is sacred, uninterrupted presence. But that's a truth so deep, it needs its own space to breathe. You know, we spend so much of our spiritual lives seeking the light, chasing revelations, praying for breakthroughs, demanding clarity from the universe, like it owes us a neatly typed report. We want the mountaintop experience, the blinding aha, the moment the clouds part and the angels sing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what if I told you the most profound spiritual work doesn't happen in the light? What if the real magic, the gut-wrenching, soul-forging, authentic kind, happens in the holy dark, and the ultimate act of love is not leading someone out of it with a flashlight, but quietly sitting down beside them in that fertile blackness and whispering, "I know, this too is sacred." Let's talk about the mystery of sacred suffering. This isn't about glorifying pain or wearing misery as a badge of honor. That's martyrdom, and it's a dead-end street. No, this is about recognizing a truth so counterintuitive it feels like a betrayal of every loving instinct. Some processes in the human soul must not be optimized. Some chapters must be read slowly, in the original language of tears and silence, not summarized or translated for convenience. Imagine for a moment a piece of pottery being fired in a kiln. The transformation from soft, malleable clay to something strong, resonant, and permanent happens in sealed, blistering darkness. To open the kiln door mid-process because you can't stand the heat or you're anxious to see the result is to guarantee a shattered, half-formed thing. The love that understands this is the love that guards the kiln door, not with cold indifference, but with a reverent, sweating, steadfast commitment to the completion of the cycle. Your person is in their kiln moment. Maybe it's the raw animal grief of a loss that redefines their world. Maybe it's the terrifying silence of a dream that died, leaving a vacuum where their identity used to be. Maybe it's the confusing, chaotic runner phase of the twin flame dynamic, that period of intense triggering and separation that feels less like spiritual evolution and more like a cosmic joke. The modern world and our own frantic hearts scream for intervention. Give them a strategy, a mantra, a 10-step plan to vibrate higher out of this mess. We treat emotional and spiritual pain like a faulty app to be force quit and rebooted. But sacred suffering operates on a different operating system altogether. It's not a bug, it's a deep, system-wide update. To interrupt it is to corrupt the download, leaving the soul forever glitching, waiting for a patch that can only be applied in the next, likely more painful cycle. The love that dares to be a witness says, "I will not force quit your process. I will not offer you spiritual bypass pills to numb the download. I will sit here with you in the buffering circle, even if it spins for what feels like an eternity." This is where we have to get brutally honest about our own spiritual egos. Ouch, I know. It's so much more satisfying to play the role of the healer, the wise guide, the bringer of light. It feeds a story about who we are. But sitting in the holy dark with someone offers no such reward. There are no points for brilliance here. You can't quote Rumi at a heart that's currently a raw, pulsing wound. Poetry just stings. All you can offer is the unsexy, unglamorous gift of uninterrupted presence. You become a living, breathing anchor point in their storm. Not a lighthouse shining from a safe distance, but a stone on the seafloor, saying through your very being, "I am here. The bottom exists. You will not dissolve into endless chaos." And in that space, a space free from unsolicited advice, from toxic positivity, from any attempt to fix, something miraculous happens. The sufferer is given permission to fully inhabit their own experience. They stop fighting the grief, the anger, the confusion. They stop pretending to be spiritual about it. They simply are it. And in that total surrendered embodiment, the alchemy begins. The grief, fully felt, becomes a well of compassion. The anger, fully acknowledged, transmutes into unshakable boundaries. The confusion, fully sat with, slowly settles into a new, more authentic clarity. This is the germination that cannot be hurried. You wouldn't poke at a seed every hour demanding to see the root, would you? Yet we do this to human hearts constantly. So what does this look like in your messy everyday life? It's you, on the phone, biting back the 10 perfect solutions rising in your throat, and instead saying, "That sounds incredibly hard. I am so sorry you're carrying this. Tell me more about how it feels in your body." It's you resisting the urge to send them another divine masculine awakening article when they're in the thick of a trigger, and instead sending a simple "thinking of you, no need to reply." It's you holding them while they cry without once murmuring, "It'll be okay," because maybe in this exact sacred fragment of eternity, it's not okay, and that truth deserves its moment of honor. This path, this practice of being a sacred witness, is the final, unspoken covenant of real love. It says, "I love you too much to deprive you of your own transformation. I will not steal your strength by pretending you are weak. I will not insult your journey by pretending the path is clean." It is the ultimate trust fall, not into your arms, but into their own capacity, and the beautiful, hopeful secret at the end of this dark, sacred corridor. When someone is allowed to complete this alchemical process in the sanctity of uninterrupted space, they don't just get better. They emerge different, solid, real. They possess a grounded, unshakable knowing that no peak experience can ever grant. They become their own answer, and the love that awaits on the other side of that, whether it's a reunified twin flame connection or a profound peace within yourself, is no longer a fragile fantasy built on need. It's a miracle built on the unshakable bedrock of a self that was allowed to become whole in its own time, in its own holy dark. The kiln door must stay sealed. Trust the fire, guard the dark. The masterpiece is still at work. And honestly, the view from the other side of this patience is so breathtaking. It makes every moment of silent witnessing worth its weight in gold. So here we are, at the end of this winding path of thought, or perhaps, more accurately, at its true beginning. We've mapped the delicate terrain of holding back, of witnessing, of sacred silence. We've differentiated the frantic energy of fixing from the profound stillness of faith. And if you've walked with me this far, a question might now be breathing quietly in your chest. Okay, I understand the theory. I see the map. But what does the landscape look like when I get there? What is the texture of this love, forged in the fires of a loud struggle? Let me paint it for you. Not in the glittering hues of fantasy, but in the rich, grounded colors of attainable reality. This love, the kind that knows when to stand as a witness, doesn't lead to a sterile, pain-free plateau. That as a mirage. It leads to something infinitely more interesting, a resilient and breathtaking topography. Imagine two mountains, once separate, undergoing their own violent tectonic shifts. Earthquakes, erosion, landslides that scar their faces. If one mountain tried to constantly stabilize the other, they'd both collapse into a heap of rubble. But if each endures its own necessary reshaping, held by the unshakable fact of the other's distant, steady presence, something new emerges. A valley forms between them, a fertile, protected space that didn't exist before. Rivers of new understanding can flow there. Life takes root. The mountains are not fixed, they are changed, and the landscape they co-create is more complex, more beautiful, and more durable than any flat, undisturbed plain could ever be. This is the secret they don't tell you in the fairy tales. The goal isn't to find someone who spares you the earthquake. The goal is to become someone and to recognize in another who has learned to stand in the quake and in the terrifying, fruitful silence that follows, and to trust that the ground will reform. It always does. But it reforms differently. It settles at a new elevation. When you stop seeing your loved one's pain as a fire alarm, you must sprint to silence and start seeing it as the unique, if arduous music of their soul's rearrangement. Everything changes. Your role shifts from frantic technician to appreciative listener. You're not there to stop the symphony because a few notes are discordant. You're there to hear the whole piece, trusting the composer knows where the melody is going. And in doing so, you gift them the ultimate affirmation. Your life is not an emergency, it is a composition. And I have ears for all of it, the beautiful, hope-filled truth. This isn't some lofty, unattainable state for spiritual Olympians. It's practical. It's a muscle you build one rep at a time. It's the next time you feel that visceral tug to solve, to advise, to rescue. You pause. You take a breath that feels like it's filled with gravel. You consciously drop your tools, and you simply say, I'm right here. That moment of restraint is not a void. It is a cathedral you are building between you. Its walls are made of respect. Its altar is trust. And for those walking the twin flame path, where the mirrors are brutally clear and the triggers are landmines, this understanding is your liberation. The runner isn't running from you. They are, often clumsily and painfully, running through the gauntlet of their own untouched suffering. To chase them is to scream that you don't believe they can survive their own curriculum. To stand anchored in your own worth and allow that process, though it aches like a phantom limb, is to telegraph a soul-deep conviction. I believe in the strength of the spirit I recognized in you. Complete your work. I am doing mine. That energy doesn't push away. It magnetizes. It creates a field of wholeness, not neediness, which is the only true home any divine counterpart can ever return to. So, does this mean you become a passive island of indifference? Goodness, no. You become an active, vibrant harbor. A harbor doesn't chase the storm-tossed ship. It doesn't calm the waves. It simply keeps its lights on, its depth soundings true, and its dock pilings strong. It says, the weather is yours to navigate, but when you are ready, the shelter is here, unchanged. That is powerful, active love. It is the love that builds sovereigns, not dependents. The journey toward this love begins with a simple, revolutionary turn of the gaze, from their storm to your own anchor, your own healing, your own capacity to sit in the holy dark of your own being. You cultivate your own unshakable dock, and from that place of grounded fullness, you will find that you no longer need to let people suffer as some kind of harsh spiritual discipline. You will simply see their path as theirs, their process as sacred, and your presence as a gift of faith, not a tool for intervention. You will love them not for who they could be if they were pain-free, but for the profound unfolding mystery that they are right now, struggle and all. And the miracle, the quiet, everyday miracle, is that this kind of love doesn't just transform them, it transfigures you. It sands away your own rough edges of saviorism and anxiety. It leaves you with a quieter mind, a softer heart, and a strength that feels not like a fortress wall, but like the deep, solid roots of an ancient tree. You become someone who can hold space for chaos without becoming chaotic. That beautiful soul is the real goal. Not a perfect, painless union, but a you and a them, so whole and so real that any connection born from that place can't help but be a masterpiece of authenticity. The path is open, the map is in your hands, and the first step is just a breath away. The next time you choose to listen instead of solve. The harbor is already within you. Time to keep your lights on.